Wednesday morning and we are back on the job I completed last month. Monday and Tuesday I was on the garage helping one of my subscribers just bring him on the trailer a little bit, so I didn't get too much filming done, but I got a couple of shots off the garage and how it's looking. Monday morning and we're back on the garage we're building. This morning we have been setting up all of our plinths down this side, putting on our splits. Now we're doing block work all the way up to this height here, so we've got 4 course of block, and then we're going to swap back to brickwork, so above the fence everyone can just see brickwork from the other side. I've ran the bond out dry all the way to make sure that it works when we stick the lintel on above, but what we've ended up with is a 180 cut in this middle just to make sure that all this works, but when we put the lintel on above, that cut actually gets pushed further along and then the bond all works. So yeah, little cut here, and then we're going to get blasting those block work down here. Stand where I'm stood and just look at it. I'm not looking at this, I'm actually looking at that. Look at the difference, yeah? Yeah, I'm not having a go again. But look at that little shit there. Look how big that perp is, okay? Let's pull it right. When you lay a brick, okay, and you got your perp, I push it. Look how effing squeezing out, yeah? Hey, good lad, see? And then we're left with a 10mm perp. What you're doing is you're laying it, and you're just letting the perp be, okay? We want to squeeze it out and it's filling all the joints, okay? Perps are loads better, mate. Perps are really good. Face plane's actually pretty decent as well, which is nice. And also, look at your perps, they're bang on. So I'm waiting for the scaffold to go up on that job, and in the meantime I've dropped back onto the extension what took us 28 days to build. I'll leave a link on screen right now. Scaffold's been dropped, king posts are in inside, and the job overall is looking fantastic. Now I've been building this garden wall off and on for a little bit, so I'm going to take you back to when I first started the job and get you guys up to speed right now. We are back on the job we just wrapped up yesterday, but we're going to be digging a garden wall foundation today. This is how we're looking at the moment. I have my pillar footing dug out. The concrete is going to be coming up to pretty much this level here, so just underside of the old driveway, because this is going to be all slabbed and we're going to have steps stepping down over there. Currently dug a foot in here, 700mm deep for a nice big pillar, and then I'm just digging this foot in here where the garden wall is going to be. The client's drawn up a rough drawing of how they want the garden wall to look. The garden wall itself has a planter running straight through the middle, probably about 140 to 150mm cavity, and then we're going to put a French drain at the bottom of that to take any moisture from the plants and rain away out the wall. I've just discovered a load of concrete, so I'm going to start taking this out and we'll see how we get on. Easy peasy. Just gone 11 o'clock, which ain't too bad really. Been digging for about 3 hours. I've got most of this section done. Need to do a small pillar over there, and I need to take off the rest of this concrete. Finally finished digging out the footing. We've tidied all the edges because the pillars are going to be really tight up to the old driveway. I've got a ton of ballast around the back where the extension is to mix up, and then I've got another 2 ton on the front, but we're going to bring it round because I don't want to make a mess of any driveways and things like that. So a lot of work to do still, but nothing I can't handle on my own. I've got another pillar to dig out for, that'll be on Tuesday, but I'm leaving that one for Drew just to give him a little taste of some hard work. And I just want to have a nice day now, mixing some concrete, and then on Tuesday when we're back here, I can start setting out the wall while he's doing some graft. Right, that is where we are leaving it for today and this week. A lot of ground came out of that footing. I took it down 600 mil and we had a step in it. A 300 mil step, though my brickwork will just step because the ground was running down. I had to step the concrete. But yeah, overall decent week. Yeah, I'll catch you next week. Morning and welcome. Good morning and welcome back to the channel. Now, a few weeks ago, I mentioned how the client wanted us to build a garden wall on the same job we did this big extension. Now, last week I started digging the foundations and I also poured the concrete. So the concrete has finally gone off. What we have is a pillar here. Drew's gonna end up digging and pouring another foot in here to have another pillar. So 1 pillar, 2 pillar. We've got a 300 mil step, another pillar here. The wall will continue and sweep down, and then we need to dig a footing and pour a foundation from this point here all the way over there to the middle of that air vent. And then we're going to have steps coming up in increments of 200 mil, 4 steps. So this is what we're going to be working on for the next couple of days. So right now I'm going to set Drew out because he needs to dig a big hole, which will be fun for him. I'm going to start setting up the first couple of courses, get all my squares, all my levels, and then we'll be good to go. This is the garden wall we are building. So we have a small pillar going there, what Drew's about to dig out for. I'm setting up this pillar here. I know on the drawing it shows 2 pillars, but we're changing it to 1 big pillar. And then we've got this long straight wall, which is this wall here, coming straight into it. Now I've set ties into this wall just so it's a nice simple build, because we're having the bricks come in at an angle. It just means a lot more cutting and things like that if I was to build it into the pillar. Hence why I've put ties out. Now I've set this pillar up. It's a 2 brick pillar, which is a 440 pillar. 440 there to there, there to there. Now a few little tips when you're setting these up. When I set my first brick out, I always use 1 course, which is my datum mark. So I'll square that 1 course of a reference point. Now my reference point was this here, this driveway, and then I square off that, and then I check the diagonal measurement. Now on a 440 pillar, the diagonal from here to here, there to there, is 622 mil. So you can just check that. I mean, I can't do it now because I've got a brick in my way, but yeah, that's something I like to do. Yes, we have built the pillar to a pretty decent height. Everything's gauge, everything's square, everything is bang on. Of course it is, I built it. This pillar is now going to be our reference mark, okay? We're going to be using all of the heights and we're going to be transferring that level across. Now you can see how we have a gradient here. Ideally, the client wants and has asked me to make sure that there is 3 blues showing constantly. At the moment you can see here that we're below ground level, so I'm able to put a block flat in this area, and then I'll have to put blues, but I need to make sure that I make it work gauge so everything marries up really nice over there. To do this, all I'm going to be doing is throwing my level onto said blue and then measuring down from the top of my level, which is the top of my blue, down and making everything work gauge. Something else I've just done, I've cast a line 50 mil away from our drive here all the way up there. This is going to be our face brickwork for the main wall. We have got a small pillar here, and I've just been trying to figure out with the client how to do it, because he wants the pillar tied up to this, okay? But in doing so, I won't be able to bond in my face brickwork wall. So we've suggested just building a pillar totally separate like we have done there, throwing ties out, and then we'll be able to bond it in a bit better than cutting and pistoling bricks. I always mention this, but to transfer a line down, all you do, you take your line, you support a level, quick mark on the footing, and then you're set. Anyway, we're going to set this out, and then we'll come back in a little while when I'm trying to figure out all my heights and making sure that my blues run lovely all the way to that pillar level, and we have 3 showing. $450 bang on. No, we're changing the whole, you know that drawing we first started with? Yeah. Changing everything. Everything's changed. But it's good. This will work really good. Right, so I'll build this up in blues now. Sam. This morning we've just been cracking on. Drew's loaded out this backside off the wall, and yesterday he also did this footing here, which is solid and pretty much gone off. So hopefully later on today I'll be setting out the final pillar, which is going to be in line with this and in line with the old driveway. Things are constantly changing. We had an initial drawing which we were following. Things just weren't working how myself and the client expected. We're going to have about a 140 cavity. That meant that the pillar here couldn't really be properly tied into the wall, so that's why I've thrown ties out here. So yes, it is slightly weak, but if you come round this side, you can see how I've staged loads of ties in the wall at 225 intervals, every 440 apart. So even though this section of wall isn't really tied into this pillar and this pillar, obviously because that one's on a dodgy angle and this one just can't be bonded in, at least the ties will be able to hold it securely together. Fucking pipe! Because this planter is going to be full of a bit of topsoil and then some shrubs, I suggested that we put a French drain down at the bottom, because obviously we don't want this cavity holding loads of moisture. So what we're doing, we're having a French drain, which is pea gravel up to a certain height. This pipe is going to be put in and there's going to be lots of holes in it, so it's perforated, and any moisture that comes down and builds up will go into this pipe and it will just filter out onto the patio area. And just by doing this way the wall won't be retaining loads of water and extra weight it doesn't need to do. To keep some of the original character of this house, even though it has all been rendered, there used to be garden walls knocking about everywhere, and some of the old coping stones have been kept. Now these are from the 1930s, and some of the other old coping stones are these. Now these are really nice. They're 300mm wide. Like I said, they were on all of the original garden walls, and the client's kept them and wants to somehow try and introduce them into this new garden wall we're building. Hopefully the previous footage covers most of this garden wall, because I forgot what I've said and what I've done, because it's been about a month or so. But we have sent this pillar up this morning, up to 1500. I'm going to do the exact same here. That is just going to break up this area so that when you walk through, you're going to be in a nice patio area. We've got one more course to put on this wall. This wall here, or this little bit of brickwork here, is actually going to be a small planter. There's going to be a bush or a succulent in there. Since I've been gone as well, the client has filled up the wall with pea gravel, which I previously spoke about for drainage reasons, and Drew has been digging a footing because we're going to have some steps. Perfect.